ladies and gentlemen, this is OCC coming at you Monday morning, about 8:15, Texas. I'm here to talk to you today about the FBI is investigating widespread allegations of wrongdoing in the oldest city in Texas. That's NACOGDOCHES, Texas, ladies and gentlemen. NACOGDOCHES. That's where I'm from. Now, I want to talk to you guys today about the importance of documenting and reporting your stuff. Will it do any good when you report it? Absolutely not. It'll do good later, though, when they get caught. Is what the deal is I have been receiving harassments, organized crime to me, my family. It's all documented. I've reported it to the governor's office. I've reported it to the district attorney's office, not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times, 5, 6 times. I even talked to the secretary and said I needed a phone call back. Didn't ever hear nothing. Reported it to the officials around locally, reported it to the officials on the state level, and reported it to officials on a federal level. So now then, I even reported it to my employer. I mean, it's been documented numerous ways. My family's documented it, and then sooner or later you get tired of it, ladies and gentlemen. You get yourself a private investigator, and they just start digging up all kinds of crap. And I've had death threats on Facebook. I'm not really supposed to be talking about all this stuff, but I just wanted to show you it's very important. Even though when you report it, nothing's going to be done, because later when you get tired of dealing with these folks, you never know when you might win the lottery and you might be able to afford that private investigator. So it's very important to go ahead and be documenting these things. But I want to show you a little bit of this clip right here. This is the DA of Nacogdoches County right here. Back when he was in school, he got a DWI, and this guy found out about it. He reported it, and they did the same exact thing to him they were doing to me. And I have reported it years after years. My mother has reported these things, harassments. Nothing happened, but there's fixing to be a major lawsuit, so we'll see what happens.
You're watching dash cam video from more than a decade ago. A law student lying to Alamo Heights police during a DWI traffic stop.
You got a lot of slurred speech,
This guy knew the drill. He'd been convicted before of drunk driving. He'd be convicted this time, too.
Is that your wedding ring in your pocket? Yeah. Come on, let's go. Grab a seat in my car.
We got a special place for you.
How's it play? Wingman? Yeah, play Wingman? Or somebody playing Wingman for you?
That police video surfaced 8 years later, February of 2020, in the heat of the Nacogdoches County District Attorney's Office race. That law student was Andrew Jones, now running years later to be the county's DA. The video was clearly meant to be a political hit, but the video, the lying, the DWI record, all true. For the first time, the guy who helped donate his expertise to help create the website is breaking his silence.
They felt that I was, pardon the expression, a dumb Hispanic, stupid Mexican, and so intimidation is something you do.
Peter Fernandez says his software business here on North University Drive was all but destroyed in the aftermath of his role in the website.
And let me add here, ladies and gentlemen, you hear what they said? His business was destroyed. I know of chicken farms. I know of all kinds of businesses that these people have attacked and destroyed for no legal reason. They don't have the right to do these things. And there's going to be a major lawsuit. I mean, major lawsuit. This guy right here, I'm sure, has a lawsuit going. And but the thing is, just be sure, ladies and gentlemen, and report. Now, see, this is years later, and this is coming up. But look what it's fixing to be a major. This is all evidence. This is key evidence.
Creation, a campaign of retaliation that began, he says, with a phone call from then Assistant DA Jones, demanding the website be shut.
And let me add, that then Assistant D.A. Jones didn't even have a license to be practicing law, and Nacogdoches County had hired him. Ended up in multiple lawsuits. I saw one for $13 million. Every case that he touched could be overthrown. And now they've gotten caught down there illegally wiretapping, but you'll hear about that.
Shut down, the video removed during his campaign.
An honest candidate, a smart candidate would have gotten in front of him and said, you know, I was stupid in college, this is what happened, that's life, and I'll learn from it. Instead, they went the route of intimidation. No more than 15 minutes later, that's when I get the visit from the ranger, the Texas Ranger.
The ranger was James Hicks, and to hear Fernandez
Another
tell
crook.
it, he was really there to do Jones' political bidding, not law enforcement.
And then started yelling, it's a Class 3 felony. And I calmly asked him, am I a suspect? And he yelled back, no, you're a person of interest. I know what that means. You're a suspect. He was yelling at me, screaming. Texas Rangers should not be used for political purposes, period.
To combat this lawlessness, the state once again called into being the Texas Rangers.
When you're a Texan, you know of the storied history of the Texas Rangers. But there are growing complaints from Nacogdoches to Lufkin that this ranger is a rogue ranger.
He's a ranger out of control.
There are formal complaints Hicks' boss, Lieutenant Travis Brazel, is failing to do anything about the complaints. And we've learned the Texas Rangers have now launched their own internal investigation.
Oh,
and
boy.
it's not the
Rangers
first one.
investigating
Have you
Rangers.
talked to the FBI yet?
Jesus.
Yes, they interviewed me
About this incident?
about this incident.
And we've confirmed the FBI is now conducting a widening investigation into the conduct of public officials in Nacogdoches County. Complaints of official oppression, retaliation, wiretapping. Add to that the evidence that the Rangers chose to ignore repeated complaints of abuse in the Nacogdoches County Jail.
They cheap shotted me. They blindsided me. They slammed me down. I was never resisting to begin with.
DA Andrew Jones ignored our phone calls, so we went to Nacogdoches and caught up with the county attorney, John Fleming. Mr. Fleming, can I talk to you for a moment? Are you aware of the Justice Department investigation because of a whistleblower in the jail? I'd like to talk to you about the wiretapping.
He don't care.
allegation.
He's above the law.
Why won't you even acknowledge it?
He's above the law.
A little weird.
What system? It's just justice, just us.
Woo.
What the hell with you? What? You just watched Corey Rowland get
Darius,
punched in the
you're out of
face
control,
after
son.
he volunteered to answer
Try it with me.
questions about the whereabouts of some stolen property. The sheriff's office had issued no subpoena. There was no search warrant.
This is the face of this sheriff's department.
Try it with me, sucker.
Remember, Rowland had voluntarily come in to talk. Seconds later, you'll hear Rowland asking to see the sheriff, Jason Bridges.
Yeah.
Sheriff.
The crook.
No, you're not done here.
The answer, no.
They kept him for an hour. Mr. Rowland couldn't be expected to understand that that's an unlawful detention.
In federal court documents, Deputy Salomon Landeras swore, quote, he did not hit any portion of plaintiff's head, just compliance strikes to arms and shoulders. The video says otherwise. You can watch the whole thing on YouTube. Where did he hit you? How many times?
Twice right in the face.
He hit you twice in the face with his fist.
Yes.
Rowland says he called the Texas Rangers a few days later and was told to report the assault to the Texas Ranger assigned to watchdog the area, James Hicks.
He said he was going to look into it, and he never got back with me about anything.
Never talked to him again. DBS records turned over to Dolcevino Consulting show Hicks never investigated a thing. Complaints to his boss, Lieutenant Brazel, brought in another ranger
get
from
something right in this
Jasper.
county.
He agreed with the deputy's story. That deputy who threw the punches still has a job. To Corey Rowland, that's just injustice.
They act like they're untouchable. They do whatever they want when they want.
Paul Anderson says he has now proven
There
the
he is.
deputy
There's
knew
the
that
man.
Rowland had suffered a traumatic brain injury just months earlier when he was struck in the head with the butt of a rifle. It left a hole in his head. He had a craniotomy. Rowland now says his headaches are 3 times worse.
I was in there for terroristic threat, Class A misdemeanor.
But now Joseph Hansich's dad has seen the video of what happened to his boy in the Nacogdoches County Jail. His son has mental health problems, and when he allegedly threatened his dad, he called the law, had him arrested.
Look, knowing what I know now, I would have just let him beat me, then have him go through that.
Hansich claims he just wanted to be in a cell by himself. Let him tell you what allegedly happened next when he was escorted out into the hallway.
They threw me to the ground out of nowhere. I was just walking. They slammed me on my ground, 3 of them. 2 of them were punching me in my head while I was on the ground. Once they put me in the full body restraints, I was begging and pleading with them, what are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
Joseph says he was put in this chair, then injected with something. His father confirms he saw that on video too. What chemical? We do not know.
He just kind of sat there, and he went through it, what looked like a convulsive reaction. And he went limp, and he stayed that way, and with no body.
Nacogdoches County has taken no actions on the officers involved, but they did charge Joseph with assault for spitting on one of the officers.
Shortly after me spitting, Bradley Garza comes over top and hits me 5 times in the face.
Former jailer Bradley Garza is mentioned in another civil rights lawsuit involving the alleged beating of inmate Shaylin Nichols. It was dismissed by District Judge Jefferson Davis. The judge's court administrator, by the way, is the wife of the county attorney. Are you aware of the Justice Department investigation?
Excuse me, sir. Trying to get my office. Sure.
Are you aware of the Justice Department investigation? Nice chat with you. And in the other district court, the administrator is the wife of the county judge. You gotta love small towns.
I don't know how they have Thanksgiving dinner without having a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
We asked to see the videotape on the Hansich case. We know Joseph's father has seen it. We think everybody in Nacogdoches has a right to see it. But they said no.
The public gets to see what an inmate at a jail does to deserve having 4 adults pound on him, handcuff him, lynch him, put him in a chair, and then inject him with a chemical.
In fact, the county has refused to let us see any videos involving the use of this restraint chair.
Communist.
Not one of them. Joseph believes he was actually targeted for assault, but that the jailers really meant to beat up another inmate with a very similar name. He quotes from one of his alleged assailants.
He said that, you know what you did to your mom and daddy, boy, you had this coming to you. That's what they said to me.
This is Joseph Anthony Hansich, and this is Anthony Joseph Piazza. He was in jail for a physical assault of his parents. That's why Joseph Hansich did what Corey Rowland did. He complained to Ranger Hicks. The DPS says there's no record of that investigation. The county's biggest problem in Nacogdoches may be this: a 13-page sworn affidavit from a jail whistleblower describing potential civil rights violations in the jail. The FBI now has it in their hands. Are you aware of the Justice Department investigation because of a whistleblower in the jail? And civil rights lawyer Paul Anderson, he's in an all-out war with Nacogdoches County.
They wiretapped me, and then they also used the information obtained from those wiretaps to influence the outcomes of my case.
Lawyers have a right to talk to their clients in jail without it being recorded, but Anderson says that's exactly what happened to his conversations with his client Brandon Fincham. An email from the county attorney confirms it. And yes, there's another lawsuit. Don't you think the taxpayers in Nacogdoches County have a right to know whether or not you guys wiretapped a lawyer talking to his client? Why would you do that? Mr. Anderson thinks you ordered it. He also thinks he's faced retaliation. And that's what's made this fight personal. This is a photo of 3 of 4 officers that came to make an arrest in town. A big deal, it looks like. It was actually the arrest of lawyer Paul Anderson on a criminal charge of harassment back in December of 2020, long after his string of civil rights clients started piling up. You want to see why? Anderson had sent an email to a client who hadn't paid their bill. He said she was, quote, full of crap. And John Fleming made that a crime in Nacogdoches? I've written a lot meaner emails than that.
The charge was ultimately dismissed after John Fleming was compelled to recuse himself.
I'd like to talk to you about the wiretapping allegations. Why won't you even acknowledge me? A little weird? The Rangers declined comment on the widening complaints on Ranger Hicks, but the DPS did give us every single closed investigation of adults Hicks has handled over almost 4 years, and only one investigation remains open, and thus secret to you. Yep, it's the investigation into that website that tried to tank the DA's campaign back in 2020. Is it really still open, or would letting us
how
see
many
the records
investigations
cause the
they got
Rangers
open
some
on me?
embarrassment?
Chuck Norris made a great movie or a great series about the Rangers. They certainly are not that.
Yeah, they ain't that no
anymore.
more.
And we all want that.
You're so big and strong.
Those days are gone.
You scare me. You don't know what scared is yet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, now you can see for sure exactly. You see, there was somebody working down at the county jail that got tired of all this crap, and they turned them in. So that's why it's very important to always turn in your stuff and document, and keep up with your local news and dig a little bit. And you hire your private investigator, search around, find these things out, and there's your fuel for your fire right there. It didn't cost you a penny. In my case, I hired a private investigator to go and dig up every bit of my stuff. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's a lot of it. And these Yahoo, if you don't do your part, it'll never get fixed. These people need to go. They need to go to the federal pen. I hope. If there's any kind of justice whatsoever, that's where they're headed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I've got to say. Good day. God bless you. See you later. And that right there is a place that you can go to get some counsel. They investigations and what? These are the guys that put this piece of information together. God bless you.